Hello, everybody. Hello, and welcome again to another edition of Living on Music. I am Steve Hauk, and wow, it is, again, great to see everybody. We are continuing to have just a myriad of amazing guests, as it has been from day one with Scott Kurt in April of 2020. And ever since then, getting close to 80 guests on Living on Music, continuing to talk about the last year, and how it affected musicians. That was the impetus and kind of the way the show got flowing and rolling. But also talking about what's happening now, breaking through a little bit. What are the positives of coming out of this and being a musician or involved in music or in fundraising and charity work. And that is who I have tonight. If you look behind me, you see, yes, Frying Pan Farms venue. It's in Herndon, and it is a wonderful venue, rebuilt and remodeled, and is just really intimate and fun. And my guest tonight, Tim Reed, the founder of We Rock Cancer, is going to be hosting an event on October 2nd, and that is going to be at right here at Frying Pan Farm in Herndon. And it is to raise money for We Rock Cancer. It is a very special event with three incredible musicians, Laura Segaris, Brian Dunn, and Pat McGee. And you can't beat that triple bill of any show, let alone one that has such important reasons to exist. We're going to be talking to Tim tonight about that event, also about the evolution of his career as a radio personality in Florida, up in Syracuse, and then also his Air Force career, thanks to his father's past, who motivated him to do that. Became a wonderful business consultant on different kinds of things, and we talk about that as well. And then, because of a personal crisis, ended up founding We Rock Cancer in 2019, and talking about the evolution and where we are today. So can't wait to have Tim on in a minute or two. Before that, we just talked about Laura Segaris, who was on my show twice, and she was on within the last month. She is released or is going to be releasing officially coming up at the end of November, a holiday record called Get in the Mood. And it is wonderful. It's got a myriad of familiar songs that you know. Christmas Time Is Here, Blue Christmas, a whole bunch of things. Mariah Carey's All I Want for Christmas, across the board, and an original by Laura, Get in the Mood. And what I'd like to do is ask you to go to this website that you see on the picture of Laura, bit.ly, bit.ly /Get in the Mood -support, and help a musician who has been nothing but generous to her fellow musicians, her band members, everybody. She's a wonderful lady, and she wanted to do this record to get people back in the mood for the holidays, and has never done a holiday album before. And you can go on my YouTube page, Living on Music with Steve Hauk, and find the Laura Segaris, Dave Chappell episode. And Laura talks all about this record. But I go out and support Laura. Go out and support local music, and you'll have, to boot, this wonderful holiday record from Laura Segaris, who again is appearing on the We Rock Cancer gig on October 2nd. Real quick, speaking of that YouTube page, love to have you subscribe. If you're a current member of Living on Music on Facebook or not, go join. And then you could also be great to subscribe to Living on Music with Steve Hauk. That's how we're going to grow Living on Music on YouTube. And I'd love to have you guys as subscribers. There's a lot of fun videos that get popped up there, as well as every Living on Music show. You can go to the Living on Music page on Facebook and become a member, and that would be great to have you on there. And it's just a lot of wonderful music news, photos, clips, all the Living on Music invites for my show and all things surrounding it, local music, my own duos and stuff like that are playing. So go to the Living on Music page. Speaking of that, if you're a member, you know where to go. If you don't, you saw the Facebook page on there, and we'll show it again in a minute. Living on Music mason jars now are out there and going to be given away to a select few, and they're kind of fun. And so if you would like to win a free Living on Music mason jar mug, you go to the Living on Music page on Facebook, Living on Music with Steve Hauk, Houk. And while you're there, just join. But the first 5 people to post on that page, and you can do posts on that page, especially if you're a member, that say, I want a mug, I will send you a mug, Living on Music mason jar mug, as part of a thank you for watching and being a part of the Living on Music Nation. We're going to be giving these mugs away over the next few months or longer. And it's just a little way of saying thank you and letting people having a little Living on Music sip of something or whatever they want to do. Well, let's be real here for a second. Skin cancer is the most common form of cancer in America. It is also the most treatable form of cancer when detected early. And that is true with a lot of cancers, but with skin cancer, it is detectable visually, unlike any other cancer, which is down in the body. You can see skin cancer or what could be skin cancer on your body. How do I know this? Well, within the last year, I think it was about 6 or 8 months ago, I went for a dermatologist appointment just as a checkup. I'm a young wasp from Connecticut with very fair skin and had a lot of sun experiences, some really bad sunburns over the years, a few times when I was younger, just being at the beach or camp or something. And went in 6 or 8 months ago and was detected with basal cell sarcoma. And it was a small little, about that big on my back, just a little area. And the doctor found it, and they called me back the next appointment, scraped into it, didn't hurt at all. I was laying on my tummy on a table in the doctor's office. They took it out and everything was fine. There was no spreading of it at all. And again, it's the lowest form of skin cancer, but hey, it's skin cancer. And it was a frightening moment. It's the second time I've been diagnosed with cancer in my life. I had colon cancer a number of years ago, and that was taken away because I went in early. It's all about early detection. It's the urgency to visit a doctor, to have the proper medical care, and get examined. And that's why Tim Reed and We Rock Cancer are here tonight. We Rock Cancer is the result of personal experiences, some career choices, and yes, like me, sun exposure that occurred in the life of Tim. We'll talk about his own experience with skin cancer. We'll talk about how that was the impetus behind the formation of We Rock Cancer 2 years ago, but also about Tim's very interesting life journey, which again went through a time with his father. After he retired, they ended up in Florida. And then there was another kind of bond years later when his father was diagnosed with cancer. And also about Tim's wonderful business consulting world and the way he has been able to take a lot that he learned in the Air Force, kind of depths of knowledge of different things that he taught and different things that he did, to able to take it into business. But I love the fact that he said, we're making a difference and creating awareness. And that is the key as this wonderful organization, We Rock Cancer, begins. Please welcome the founder of We Rock Cancer. And another reason to love the guy, for me, a huge Bruce Springsteen fan like moi. So we bond like that. And then we got this whole other thing to bond with. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Tim Reed. Tim Reed, my friend, welcome to Living on Music. How are you?
I'm fantastic, Stephen. Thank you for having me. It's so great to be here with you.
I'm so excited to have you. I know that you and I were put together and introduced by the wonderful Laura Segaris, who we'll talk about in a second with your amazing event coming up. And it's so great to just be even at least for now, distant part of of helping you guys just, get the word out about this incredible organization that you have created, We Rock Cancer. First, how are you doing after the last 16 or 17 months that we have been going through this insanity? How is Tim Reed, et cetera, doing right now?
Well, we're still here, so the bar has been lowered a little bit. So that is check that box. It's been an interesting ride. The organization, which I know we're going to talk more about, was really started in July of 2019.
Right.
And then this little COVID thing came around and said, seems like you have a great plan here, but you might want to think about a couple of aspects, and we're going to give you some time to
Right.
do that. So we really used the past 18 months to think about the different outreach strategies that we were going to put in place, who we could serve better, and how we could do it. So in that little way, everyone talks about silver linings through this whole pandemic, and that was certainly one for us. So
Yes, and
here's our time.
you've had an event in 2021 so far before this one?
We have, yeah.
Yeah.
We were with Pat McGee out in Tally Ho. We've started working with our friends at Bishop's events that do
Yes.
5Ks and 10K races. So that's gone over really, really well too. It seems like folks that run around out in the sun a lot are they're aware of being sun safe, and they were happy to welcome us into their family too.
Oh, that's fantastic. We're going to hit people right off the top here, Tim, with what's coming up. And what did you just say? 25 days. You have a focus that is probably razor thin and on a tunnel to get this event going, and I can't wait to see how it comes out. It is a We Rock Cancer event, your third, I believe.
That's right.
And it's October 2nd at the Barns at Frying Pan Farm in Herndon, which is behind me virtually. And you mentioned who this is right here.
Yeah, that's Laura Griffin. That's our director of the healthcare mission. So she's a key part of making sure all our screenings happen. So she'll be delighted, I think, for the most part, to be included.
Well, that's great, because she's not going to move the entire time. She can just be there watching the venue as we talk about you and We Rock Cancer. But I love that Pete, we're gonna have the website, the URL under you for the entire show, but it is tinyurl.com/We Rock 21.
That's right.
And that's where people can get tickets. And I know that you've had some pretty wonderful responses here, like a bunch of it sold out, right? Not the general admission, of course, you got tickets left, but you've had some wonderful response, right, on the VIP tables and things like that.
That's right. Really, really fortunate to have all of the VIP tables sell out this far in advance. So we really appreciate everyone supporting that. But the good news is every ticket is all inclusive. So, it's going to include your dinner and your drinks and 3 fantastic musical performances out there. And this, as you can see behind you, if you haven't been to this space, we were just blown away by it. So the renovations that they've done make this an awesome, intimate, there's an indoor and outdoor space component to it. So we're really excited.
It's going to be fantastic, Tim. I'm so excited for you. And you have, as we were talking about, 3 fabulous musicians. Brian Dunn, who was the one who performed at your first ever event, right? When was that? In 2019?
October 2019. Actually, Pat McGee and Brian Dunn were both there.
Okay.
And then last year at our event, Brian actually came down and did a live performance even though it was a live stream event with only a handful of people that could be here in person.
Oh.
He still came down from Brooklyn to be a part of it last year. So he's proud to let everyone know that he's the only artist that will have performed live at every single We Rock Cancer event. And we'll keep that streak alive.
Yeah, mainstay for Tim Reed and Company is Brian Dunn, and also Pat McGee, who has been a staple of this area for so many years. I interviewed him. I just was doing some research on when I did my first interview. My only interview with him was 9 years ago in 2012, and we had such a wonderful talk. I'm trying to get him on Living on Music soon. Pat, there's a little plug for you. But you also have Pat, and you also have Laura Segaris, who was on 2 weeks ago. And if people look at here, I'm wearing some Segaris garb to help pump up, obviously, the folks that are going to be doing this event. But Laura is an influential, wonderful musician. And how did you end up finding her?
Well, just as the pandemic was setting in, Laura was going to open for Pat at a Tally Ho show. So we were introduced that way, and we had started communicating with each other. And, I have to say, all roads from We Rock Cancer seem to lead back to Pat McGee in some way. So it just shows how instrumental he is to what's going on music wise in this area, and he has been for 20, 25 years now. So he did the introduction, and then I reached out to Laura again um, in the early spring, and I started telling her the story about where we're going. And I think, if I recall correctly, she said yes 5 or 6 times while I was still going through the sales pitch. And she just said, "Look, yes,
I'm in.
I'm in." So huge heart. She couldn't be more supportive. She's just gone above and beyond in everything that we could have hoped for. And we can't wait to get her out in front of this audience so they can meet her. And I know they'll be just as thrilled as we are.
Yes, they will. She is something else. We're going to show a little towards the end of the show. We're going to show a clip that Laura used, that you guys used Laura's Lead Me, which is I had her on about 6 or 8 months ago. So it was when the thing was really churning, and I had her on. I'd never met her. And just to spend an hour and a half with her, boy, that's going to be a fabulous thing. You also have a rock and roll auction at this event. What are some of you got a little preview of some of the things that are going to be on auction?
Yeah, some really fantastic things and a wide range of things. So golf has become pretty popular, it seems like, in the past 18 months or so. We have some incredible golf packages, including 3 and 4 day golf getaways with whiskey tastings and dining events. We have an awesome package to go to Latrobe and play at Arnold Palmer's home course and stay in one of the Palmer family homes right on the property. So things like that are there. Other travel packages that we put together, and some really cool stuff from the bands as well.
Oh, that's spectacular. I met Arnold Palmer when I was 11 years old at the Westchester Open. We used to go to every year, and I got to meet all these golfers on this one day. And there he was sitting there, and he signed a picture of him. I'm a huge fan of his, and Jack and those guys. Great stuff. Well, we'll be pumping this on the next couple of shows for you as we go forward, and we'll remind people of that. We're going to, before we delve into your life and then talk a little bit more about the evolution of We Rock Cancer, Pat McGee did a fabulous video for you that helped not only show his talent because it's so deep, but showed what We Rock Cancer is all about to people. And a little bit before we show the clip on what you thought of what Pat did here.
Well, as I said, I met Pat over 20 years ago when I was at graduate school at Colorado. It was a complete accident. I was, as you do at Colorado, go to school in the mornings and ski in the afternoon. I just finished up some skiing and was at my local, and Pat and the whole band rolled in. They were going to play at this place called Nick's that night on the tiniest stage I'm pretty sure that they've ever played on. But I listened to a little of the sound check, and I told my buddy who ran the bar, "Save me a seat, I'll be back." And by the time I got back, the place was completely sold out and packed, and I saw a life-changing performance that night. And we've been friends ever since, and in touch ever since, and all along the way, whether it's the rock and roll entrepreneurship program that I put in place that he was a part of, or helping out in the development of We Rock Cancer. We wouldn't be here if it wasn't for him. So Pat's been an instrumental part of every step that we've taken, and he's been there all along the way for me as well. So it means a lot for him to continue to be involved in the organization.
Oh, that's spectacular. Well, everybody, you're going to get absolute evidence of why this relationship is so tight and why Pat is such an instrumental part of things like this. Here's a little promotion for the October 2nd event with We Rock Cancer in Herndon from Pat McGee.
Hey everyone, Pat McGee here, a very dear and old friend of Mr. Tim Reed. I mean, what can I say about Tim Reed? He's just the best. And this whole We Rock Cancer thing that he's started is so cool and so inspiring to be a part of. So we got to play at Tim's place last year. I think most of you guys were there, but for those of you who aren't, probably the best first annual anything I've ever been a part of in my life. Really, truly incredible work they were doing, and in addition to the amazing things that the dermatologists were doing, The party itself was just had a spirit and a vibe to it that was just so positive, and I was happy to be a part of that. But We Rock Cancer, let's get down to it. These guys are doing incredible things. I just last week got a dermatologist to check me out because I was a lifeguard when I was a young lad, and I spent a lot of time in the sun, as you do, in the late 70s and all of the 80s, with probably no lotion or maybe 2 or 4 copper tone. I don't know. Irresponsible. But my father and mother have both had little bouts of skin cancer that has gone away, but I'm glad they got treated for it. I've had friends who have had really tough times with skin cancer. I had a friend pass away from skin cancer at a very young age. So I think that the stuff that We Rock Cancer is doing is just, it's life-changing. It really is life-affirming too. They have a youth ambassador program, which is really cool. I'm going to get my kids on top of that so they can go and spread the word to their friends. And they're just, they do amazing things with people that are in high risk, long sun exposure jobs, construction workers, lifeguards like myself. I was also a swim coach, spent a lot of time in the sun, landscapers, you name it. Anyone who spends a lot of time outside, We Rock Cancer gives them the opportunity to get free screenings. And a lot of people put that stuff off, and it's not something you want to put off because if you catch this stuff early, you're good to go. Truck to the bar, no one here to tell me drive safe. I sit in the driveway with the radio on. This cab is my hiding place. I hum along to that familiar song, makes me wonder if it's too late. It's clear to me now we were both in the wrong. You forgive, I'll forget. Why wait? This life of mine, it's ain't over time. Can you still picture us buying that home? We're not meant to live life alone.
Well, yeah. I mean, you hear that music and it's so beautiful. And then you just before that, you hear the sentiments that Pat had for you, and they couldn't have been more genuine. I think it's going to be, again, everybody, an amazing event. You don't want to miss this. Again, it's out at the wonderfully incredible Barns at Frying Pan Farm in Herndon. We'll talk a little bit more, but if you look below, Tim, down below, you'll see the website for not only We Rock Cancer, but also for that event. And you need to to go check not only out these 3 musicians, but get yourself checked. And that's the whole point of this. We're going to delve a little bit into Tim's life because it is a fun ride. Born in Flint, Michigan, 2 years after me. So we're in the same general age group. I love that. Son of a career military service member. So were you a military brat of sorts? I mean, that's kind of, it sounds negative, but you guys know that it's more just you were moved around a lot, right? Until he retired.
Yeah, it was a lot of moving until my father finally retired. I don't think we'd been anywhere for more than a year and a half or 2 years, something like that. So it does something to you, you know, as far as expectations go about always looking for something new. I've learned that through a lot of therapy, you know, that kind of creates the way you or affects the way you approach life. So I think it had an effect on me as an entrepreneur as well, looking for what can I do, you know, what's next, what's the next opportunity that I can follow to make things better. And so that stayed with me for a long time, but it also creates an awareness in you of a much bigger world than you would experience or appreciate if you stayed in one town your whole life. I love when I come into contact with people who know every neighbor on every street and everything that's going on in their town. There's something beautiful to that. But I think the lack of understanding or, you know, not having seen the opportunity to go and explore that and see how other cultures and other places act and behave. We're all people. It's a world full of people. And the more you can get out there and meet them and say hello to them and have a cold beer with them, the better
Right.
we're all going to be.
Was it just the United States, or was it all over the world that you'd moved?
Oh no, we were in Panama and Turkey and Alaska, and then I kind of followed in those footsteps to go see some places on my own as well.
Oh, spectacular. Well, what was now when your father retired in Florida, you guys were in Florida. Was that right around your high school years?
Yeah, junior high, as we called it then, middle school.
So then at least you were able to find some roots for that part of life, which is, a lot of times it's like you start in freshman year and you move in junior year and you come back in. So you were able to establish a little bit of yourself in Florida, at least in the junior high school world.
Yep. So I was in Florida from that time until through college. Yeah, through my undergrad. So
yeah,
that was good.
No, that's great. And there were opportunities, that came up that began to spur on what was your first major career as a DJ, a radio personality, we will call it as well. And you had a first radio job at Wink 97, right? That was based in Fort Myers. How did that come about? And then how did it evolve into that first job at Rock 104?
Well, my dad, when he retired, he was actually a broadcaster for the Armed Forces radio and TV network. So it was kind of, in the family.
Right.
And then he went down to become the radio news director at that same station at WINK Wink. So I was always around it, and there was the opportunity to do remote support and, dances and events and things like that with their remote music capability. So I would take the 97 Rock banner out and do dances and bat mitzvahs and, weddings. And so that was my first experience of telling people that they need to listen to more of Bruce Springsteen. And,
yeah.
And it's probably why I'm not in the event business anymore, because
bless you, sir. Bless you.
Turns out, he's good at a lot of things, but there's, he could use a few more dance songs, I guess.
Right. Yeah. Too much dance, not enough dancing in the dark. Right.
Yeah.
Well, and so you evolved through that, and I loved how you were able to kind of use the gear for the station to kind of, again, build yourself a kind of a platform and then evolve into Rock 104.
Yeah. So fortunately with that experience, that's a huge leg up when you're that young to have experience with how things come together, how the gear works, what the right pacing is for everything. And even, it was vinyl back then. Vinyl's coming back now, but everything was vinyl now. People lose track that this is before even CDs. So
right.
You had to know how to mix a song. You had to know there was no computer to tell you the beats per minute is, 132. So
right.
With this kind of song. So you had to know that, you had an ear for it, and you had to be able to segue that music together. So I think that gave me a leg up when I went up to Rock 104 in Gainesville, and they were like, we have a spot for you. So
Rock 104 ZZ Top from the Eliminator compact disc. Indeed, she has legs. Hi everybody, Jason Alexander in here with you. And don't forget that Saturday night at 10 o'clock, we've got the 2-hour profile of the Moody Blues lined up for you. From the beginning to the present, it's a profile of the complete history of one of rock's most enduring bands, and you need to check it out. The Legend of the Moody Blues, just one of our many weekend specials. We'll do it Saturday night at 10 on Rock 104, the home of rock and roll. This weekend, In Excess, a live show for you at the O'Connell Center. I'll give you the details on that, and we'll throw in a track from the new album to kick off a 30-minute rock block next.
You had an AKA as Jason Alexander. How did that come to be?
Well, apparently Tim Reed, when you say it on the air, doesn't take up enough time and give you enough presence for people to write it down in their Arbitron diary or whatever people were keeping track of in those days. So yeah, I left as Tim Reed on a Friday and came back with a new name from the consultants on Monday. And I was Jason Alexander before Jason Alexander. So what really was interesting is 7 years later when Seinfeld actually hit the airwaves and people said, oh my gosh, that's what Jason Alexander looks like. I thought he was a cool dude all this whole time. So
that is that is great.
Sure.
They were the dominant AOR station in the area, right? And you you really excelled there in a lot of ways. I know that your afternoon drive show was #1 nationwide, for Florida, whatever. You had this wonderful, wonderful run. You met people like one of my favorites on earth. Just sang a couple of his songs the other day at our gig. Michael Stipe, REM, Michael Hutchins, Sammy Hagar, Huey Lewis, Sting. How did that must have been a wonderful ride for you, especially being a rock and roll fan.
Yeah, it was, again, one of those experiences that I don't know if youth are prepared to really appreciate that in the moment. It would be a whole nother world to have those experiences now.
Right.
But remember, it also was, there's no internet, right? So these people through their music on the radio, or maybe if you're lucky, haven't seen them live.
Right.
But there's no, let me Google some questions to ask Sammy Hagar, or,
No.
let's go back and talk about, the worm in the bottle stories and all these things. You had to, if you weren't a hardcore aficionado of these people, it wasn't easy to do an interview back then with some of these folks. So there was a lot of getting to know them. I think it was probably much more refreshing for the artist at the time too, because it wasn't like they, were walking into a situation where someone already knew everything,
Right.
and they were going to get ambushed. So I think there was much more of a conversation and a getting to know people than you might see now in those interviews and one-on-ones that we had. It was great.
Yeah, I love that. And when I've interviewed, 200 or 300 of the biggest musicians in the world for my world, there's nothing like talking to these people, just talking about life. And, again, I can go in and find stuff online, but it's all about the people. And I love that you did that. That's fantastic. You had a couple other stints, Syracuse and Daytona, Orlando, right? I know WYKX in Syracuse. My ex-wife went to Syracuse University, and I knew of that station. Your father's diagnosed with cancer, kidney cancer. So you came back to Florida and became a country music DJ.
Yeah, I guess that was a precursor to a lot of things, because I think all those stations that you've mentioned are now country stations too.
Yeah,
So I congratulations, country. I don't know if, I don't know. I guess we could do a whole nother show on the evolution of whatever happened to AOR and music like that and what it's become,
right,
on another day. But yeah, my dad got sick, so I decided to come home. Not only that, but I'm sure your wife will let you know that Syracuse is pretty freaking cold, especially if you're from Florida. So I headed back down there and had to, go from a top 30 market to market 198 or something like that, and apply for a job and try to convince them that I was the right man for,
Wow.
even with this long hair and album-oriented rock background, that I could do country mornings on this station. And
right,
the reason why I wanted to do it was that's, my dad was doing radio news at that station at that time. So
right.
we became a team for that period of time, which was fantastic.
Oh, you can't beat that. It had to be under the circumstances, especially where you could bond like that. And I know in some of the pre-research that your dad had always kind of wished that one of his sons would become an officer in the Air Force, which ended up happening, where you submitted an application package. How far far off from when you came back down to do the DJ work with your dad, did you submit your first application to join the Air Force?
I think it was probably about a year that we were down there working together. And I just put the package in to have him stop asking about it. I have 3 brothers, and I kept saying, this long-haired rock guy, this is the one you want me to do it. Okay, so I'll do it. And sure enough, the Air Force said, yeah, we could use a man like you.
Wow. Well, God bless you for being that is an incredibly generous thing to do. It actually was a beautiful thing where you had your father show up at graduation and give you your first salute. That had to be a moment to remember forever.
Yeah, it really was. And that's, I've gone back to that moment quite a few times. And he was very ill at that time. So for him to fly out to San Antonio and be there for the first salute and see this this dream of his realized was fantastic. And, beyond that, he was right. The whole time in the Air Force was fantastic for me. Everyone that I knew in radio continued, struggling to maintain a job. There's 10,000 people who want to do your job for $10 an hour.
Right.
So you have that to deal with. So it was absolutely the right move. The Air Force was fantastic. They sent me away after a while to get a PhD on active
Ooh.
duty. I mean, you just, the opportunities that I was given, I really can't overstate. It was fantastic. And
That it does. Your resume for the Air Force is fabulous, including rock and roll entrepreneurship. Now, tell me what that was all about. Makes sense. Makes too much sense.
Yeah. So one of the graduate programs that I was going through, I majored in entrepreneurship up at CU Boulder, and we were always looking for new ways to apply entrepreneurial thinking and the entrepreneurial mindset. And I picked, probably some of the toughest eggs to crack, because I knew I was going back into the Air Force environment. And everyone said, well, government is the way it is because they don't want you to think creatively. There's no reward for thinking creatively or entrepreneurially in the military or the or the government.
Right.
And I said, that's not right. Because you just have to think of slightly differently. You have to think in terms not of profit, as entrepreneurs often do, but more from a social entrepreneurship or mission focus.
Right.
And when you start doing that, you can think about applying that opportunity recognition and things like that to how can I do the mission more effectively, and how can I serve my constituents more effectively. And once you do that, the sky's the limit. So this was about taking those same concepts and applying them to rock and roll. And so we had artists, we had record producers, we had promoters, we had the whole gamut of those representatives from the industry as a part of a symposium to look through these things, including Bill Graham, who was a part of it at the time in Denver. Yeah, it was fantastic.
Wow. Oh my God. One of my heroes, for sure. 2008, you left the Air Force. You spent some time with graduate education, and the entrepreneurial thinking kept going. So you kept that going, and things really kind of blew up wonderfully. Tell us a little bit about what happened over those next, 10 years after leaving the Air Force.
Well, I spent some time working for a DC consultant, as we tend to do when we leave service. And I learned a lot about that and how to help out government clients. So that was interesting, but I learned two things. I don't like staff meetings very much, and I don't like doing the same project over and over again and not seeing it implemented. So I went in and started a firm where the first question that we asked any prospective client is, we want to look at everything that you've already paid for. So what have you already bought? And we're going to go through that and then ask some questions about why hasn't this been implemented? And amazingly, about 70% of the prospective clients didn't want to do that. They just wanted to show that they were doing something for 2021 right now, as opposed to implementing anything that they've already heard. So that was fine, because those are the 30% of clients that I wanted to work for, the ones that were interested in taking a macro level at things.
Right.
And so that business did really, really well. And then, there came a point in time where skin cancer made an appearance and said, here's something else for you to think about.
Yeah, at around 2018, right? In like September, you're returning from the beach and you noticed a bump in your face. And as a military veteran who had, again, good access to healthcare, had a dermatologist, I felt a bump in my back 6-8 months ago, and there was basal cell. And so this is where it begins to evolve. You had malignant, what is it? Squamous cell?
Squamous, yeah.
Squamous cell carcinoma. Went through, what was that moment like when you found out you really had something that needed attention?
It's staggering, and it's, there's a couple of things that are consistent when everyone I've talked to since going on the cancer journey here is, the first thing is you can have a family member with cancer, you can have a friend or a neighbor with cancer. All those things are certainly significant emotional events for you. When it's your cancer, it's a whole nother thing. And I don't know how to explain it other than that, because there's some kind of shift, psychologically and physiologically about, okay.
Right.
So that was the first thing. And the second thing that I've noticed is there's a very common powerlessness, feeling that people experience. certainly with my father and kidney cancer, he's got kidney cancer. What do I do about that? You know, and I've heard people say, well, yeah, my mother has breast cancer, or my sister has cancer. And almost to a person, they'll tell you the overwhelming thing about it is, what do I do? What can I do about this now? And that certainly affected me. So we were often running on the cancer ride, and fortunately, you know, good access to healthcare. They sent me up to Walter Reed. The surgery was successful. Those people, you know, everyone on that team was fantastic. But the seeds were planted. The two things that I mentioned were planted, plus this, what if I didn't have access to healthcare? What if I wasn't paying attention? What about everyone out there that has used SPF 0 growing up in Florida like I did, and, you know, is not aware of the damage that has been caused,
Right.
and paying attention to that. So those things, those seeds were all planted, and I said, maybe we need to think about doing something about that.
Well, and a lot of people might think about doing something. You did something, man. I mean, you friggin' did it. And what you did was take your experience, and you, in July of 2019, you established We Rock Cancer. Now, what was it, your rock and roll music adoration and experience that said, all right, we want to get people aware of skin cancer. We want to be able to get them screenings, or we want to get people to get aware of this stuff. Let's bring them to shows and mold it together. What was the beginning impetus of blending it? Now you've got 5Ks, 10Ks, you've got other things going on, but where was the music thing that came jumping into this for you?
Yeah, I think whether consciously or subconsciously, the entrepreneurial mindset came back in, and, you know, rock and roll entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurs are always scanning the environment, looking for opportunities to either create something new or solve a problem that exists, or, you know, enhance the delivery of a product or service that's already out there.
Right.
Well, we have skin cancer screenings, and we have people that are going to these shows, and we have a low level of importance placed on screenings. What if we put all these things together and actually met people where they were to do this incredibly simple procedure? You know, again, skin cancer is the #1 form of cancer in America.
Right.
And I don't think a lot of people know that. It is by far the #1 form of cancer.
Oh.
It's by far the most easily treated form of cancer in America,
Right.
if you find it early.
Right.
And you don't need an MRI to do it. You don't need a CT scan. You need someone, a trained professional, to do a visual observation with you.
Right.
So there's no reason it should be the most common. You know, put all that stuff together. Let's start doing some of these screenings where people are making them a B or C priority in their life. Make them available while they're holding a cold drink at a show that they were going to anyway. Give us 5 minutes of your time, and we're going to give you all the information you need to make
Yes.
these important decisions about your body.
Yes. And you're giving them hopefully the impetus to spread it. And, you know, he said, she said, and so on and so on and so forth. And you're spreading this around to people to tell other, it's fabulous. And I guess October 9th, 2019, about 3 months after you launched it, you began these events. And I know the first one, as we talked about earlier, was with Pat, Brian, and Grief Cat. Where was that? Was that also at the?
That was in Tim Reed's backyard.
Oh,
So
the Tim Reed Amphitheater, you mean?
And you know, that's where we were. It was a shoestring. There was no organization. I probably got 20 friends to come over and help put it together. The initial conversation with Pat was, you know, it went from, should we have like a 1-year cancer-free celebration? And he's like, nope. I said, okay, should we have like a fundraiser? He's like, you're getting warmer. And then I said, well, what if we put this whole thing together, not just a fundraiser, but we'll also have free screenings there? And he's like, that's exactly what we need to do. So, yeah, Pat played that night until I think the statute of limitations is over. So, but he played that night until the police came to say,
right,
show's over. So
right, the decibel levels of the area, but that's spectacular. In October of the next year, in 2020, now you said that Brian Dunn came down from Brooklyn in the middle of a pandemic to do and now this is called We Rock Stock.
That was We Rock Stock. Yep. Because our whole hope was that, you know, when we started planning in March, surely this thing will be over by October, but we'll do it outside so everyone can be comfortable.
Right.
And that was the plan. And, but we did it outside, but, Yeah, Brian said, yeah, I'm there no matter what happens. But we had to pivot from, as you know, a lot of people have pivoted in the past 18 months from our the model that we've been using for 50 years on rock and roll performances to what's a live stream, what's a bit rate, what format do we use? Holy cow. Yeah, I learned way more about that last year than we ever thought we would.
Oh, I completely agree with you. Having launched the show in April of 2020 and going into and finding the best musicians that DC's ever seen, and some from around the world who some of them have never done anything virtual before. And you're jumping in, and some of the shows were muddy and blurry, and then we evolved. But I hear you. We all were doing it, man, and you did it. And you did it right. We talked earlier about how you've got we'll continue to plug it, as you guys see below Tim, is that website, tiny URL, We Rock 21. That's where you want to get your tickets for the October 2nd event, We Rock Cancer event, which is at the the wonderful event venue in Herndon, which we just I love that place. I got to go there and see a gig now. It's the Barns at Frying Pan Farm and in Herndon. You're expanding this organization, Tim, and that's a goal of anybody who starts something like this. And it's 2 years old. You got a pandemic kicked you in the gut for a second, but you've continued to go. You're going to come out of this. You've grown kind of beyond different events. What is the Tim Reed We Rock Cancer goal in, say, 5 years? You want to continue to build this. We talked a little bit about an event next year, which could raise the bar on attendance. What is Tim Reed's goals for We Rock Cancer as you're going forward?
Well, the number one goal that we have is to make skin cancer the number 2 most common form of cancer in America. So we'd really love for that to happen through prevention and awareness and early detection.
Right.
So that's what we're working for every day. In the ways for us to get there, we have 2 new outreach programs. One is for workers, the workforce in sun intense environments, such as landscapers, golf course workers, buskers, delivery drivers, everyone who's out there working in the sun. We want to focus screening events for them. So we're hard at work. If you happen to work in one of those areas and have some good ideas on where we might do those screenings, please reach out to me. I'd love to hear more about them.
Right.
And the other one is we're reaching out to more folks in underserved communities as well.
Right.
On that front. And then the other program to really push things forward into the front end of the spear is our youth ambassador and peer influencer program.
Right.
So if we're not learning and adjusting, where we're spending our energy and resources, we're failing. So to spend all this on treatment and survivorship is fantastic. We need to do that. But if we can take, a tiny percentage of that and influence, young people between 15 and 25 on sun awareness and sun safety, and we're not going to change everything, but there are some significant things we can do regarding sunbed use, which ought to be illegal. In Virginia, there was just a law passed, I think, that under 18 or 21, you can't even go into one anymore, which is a great step in the right direction. Right. But it just, if you had the awareness that for that one tan that you're working on, it lasts forever. Just one use of a tanning bed increases your chance of melanoma by over 20%. If you have this information, and by the way, they don't want to hear it from me and they don't want to hear it from you.
Right.
My kids don't want to hear it from me.
No.
But if there's a chance that we can put a program together where they're sharing it with each other and influencing each other with that, we're going to lean very heavily into that program. So very excited about that.
Oh, I am too. And I love this. We're going to show everybody a little bit of a clip from the We Rock Cancer Youth Ambassador Program and peer influencer. It shows a little bit of how kids can help make people aware of the dangers that cause skin cancer.
Remember those carefree days of our youth? The hours on the beach, the beating sun on the practice field, the tan, the occasional burn, the SPF. The SPF? What level SPF was that cocoa oil? Are there negative SPF numbers? For many of us, sun safety just wasn't a thing when we were young. In fact, we often longed to outdo others with a killer tan. Fast forward to what we know today. Simply put, what you do to protect your skin before the age of 25 will in large part determine the condition of your skin for the rest of your life. While most of the lessons of our youth can be overcome and serve as the foundation of improved decision-making later in life, the decisions we make with respect to sun safety in our youth cannot be undone. That's why We Rock Cancer has launched our Youth Ambassador Program, which is based on a few key concepts. First, the program is designed for students and young adults from 13 to 25. Not only is this the time when sun safety decisions will most impact your body for a lifetime, but it is also the age that children start making independent decisions about where they're going, what they are doing, and whom they are doing it with. Have you tried putting sunscreen on your tweens lately? After years of having their parents apply and reapply, it's now the young person's personal responsibility. Second, we have kids take the lead to communicate sun safety information to their classmates. The message is much more likely to be successfully communicated from a peer than from an adult. Third, we empower the youth ambassador to pursue change within their school or athletic organization by noting the existing sun safety elements that are in place and identifying opportunities to improve. Our student ambassador rock stars check out the availability of shade areas for play and rest and take note of school, sunscreen, hat, and sunglasses policies. They then share their observations with school or athletic organization leaders and discuss ways to improve upon what they've found. We Rock Cancer helps our youth ambassadors throughout this process and can help coordinate a sun safety event at a school field day or assembly, which provides the opportunity for a local dermatologist to speak to the student population regarding sun safety awareness and best practices.
Yeah, that's wonderful. It really shows how to involve people, how to get, again, awareness. Let's go. Come on, people. There's a way to make these things aware, of what you're trying to do, and that's one way to do it. Tim, this has been absolutely wonderful. We're going to show people a beautiful mission summary experience that you guys recently put together, and it features a song that was written at the beginning of the pandemic by Laura Segueras, who will be one of the featured musicians at your October 2nd event in Herndon for We Rock Cancer. I love this. What did you think of when you heard this song for the first time? Did you think, gosh, that needs to come help a video of ours?
Well, it was written during a very introspective time for me, and I know for a lot of Americans looking at, are we doing enough? Where are we on things like social justice and matters like that? So important that she raised her voice with regard to that. But every time I hear this song and every time I heard it after that, I said, that's true. It's a big world though. And there's an awful lot of areas where it turns out we're not doing enough. And you can, just read the news or listen to the news on any given day. And there's plenty of things out there where you can help out. And so there's something for everyone. And with very few exceptions, we're not necessarily doing enough. And whether it's 5 minutes or $5, we could all, I think, be doing a little bit more. And it was really an inspirational piece of music for me to remind me of that from a perspective of what would your mom say? Would she be proud of how we're going about this? And what can we do better? And it really laid down the foundation for how we go forward and what's important to us. What are we living for? And a simple answer to your question, which is not a simple question, is that it really moved me. There were a lot of misty moments with that song, and it continues to affect me in that way. And I just can't thank Laura enough for being so generous to offer that song up for our use. It means the world.
That's wonderful. And I agree with you. When I first heard the song, when we played it on my show with her months ago, Misty was an understatement. And then I had to show it in our second show, and she was like, please. And how perfect that we get to also show everybody this wonderful clip which gives the basis between, using music and these wonderful images, how we rock cancer, and lead me.
I am not doing enough. I see people picking up slack, bringing others' needs up on their backs, making it a point to just serve somebody and find a way to even up the stacks. Mama, show me what you live for. Come and shape it. You gotta do more. You gotta do more.
Yep. Little missed. Yeah, that's there's a collaboration, there's a union that just fits between that song and what you're doing. And I'm sure the show on October 2nd, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be something else. Again, it is at Frying Pan Park in Herndon, a Frying Pan Farm, excuse me, and as the barns, you see it behind me. And it is, you can go, actually give us a little bit about the best way for these people to find tickets and also to learn more about We Rock Cancer.
Okay, the website is werockcancer.org. So all one word, werockcancer.org. And there's a link there to all of our events, including the ticket link for October 2nd. Still some tickets available for that. We'd love to have you out there. There's indoor spaces and outdoor spaces. So whatever makes you most comfortable, we'd love to have you be a part of it. It also has a link to the auction. So even if you can't be a part of the event, you can certainly support us in that way. And you can follow us on all the socials too. We're at We Rock Cancer, all one word. And there's been a lot of requests for Jason Alexander to make an appearance on October 2nd. I can't say that he won't be there, but
that's classic.
He might.
Tim, I'm behind you 1000%. You're making a difference. You're creating awareness. You're building this thing in a beautiful way. Whenever music's involved, there is always a joy amidst the awareness. But I can't thank you enough for taking the time to be on Living on Music, man.
Steve, I can't thank you enough. It's getting the message out like this. We're continuously looking at the feedback that we're getting from the world, because I believe that you have to listen to what the world is telling you.
Yes.
But what I always tell our folks is we can believe what the world is telling us if the world has perfect information. So you're helping us to make sure that everyone has the information about us that they need to know. And without fail, usually when they hear a little bit about our story, they want to be a part of it. And they can be a part of it. Hey, if you're an artist and you want to be a part of it and come to a show with us, or if you want us to come to one of your shows and do screenings, hit me up. And if you have more money than time and want to support us that way financially, werockcancer.org is great, or buy a ticket or put a bid in at our annual auction. And of course, we're a 100% volunteer organization, Steve. So anyone that wants to help out at a screening or an event, we would love to have you be a part of our family. So thank you for everything you're doing for us. And I hope we see you on October 2nd. Come out and rock with us out of the frying pan.
Yes, I would love to. And look, I'm with you and would love to be along for the ride to help the awareness of We Rock Cancer. It's a wonderful thing you're doing. Keep in close touch, Tim, and thanks again for being here, man.
We'll see you soon. Be well.
You bet. Yeah, everyone, please, right now, after the show or whenever you want, put us on pause or whatever you need to do. Go to werockcancer.org, donate what you can, as well as go see the show. It's inside and outside. If you feel more comfortable outside, you can be outside. They're going to be taking precautions, as everybody hopefully is right now. But it is October 2nd, as we talked about, at the Frying Pan Farms in Herndon, and wonderful venue again right behind me. It's there's the stage, and it's just going to be a wonderful thing with Laura Segaris, Brian Dunn, Pat McGee, and free cancer screenings inside the building. So go to werockcancer.org and find out how to get tickets and be a part of them. Thanks, Tim Reed. Thanks, brother, for being on. I'll be behind you for the time immemorial, supporting We Rock Cancer. Let's keep in close touch. A week from tonight on Living on Music, Justin Trawick joins me, and can't wait. One of the most known and revered musicians, not only in this area, but around the country. He is a wonderful singer-songwriter, both solo and also with his band currently, Justin Trawick and the Common Good. He also involves people in the Nine, which are songwriting type of environments and concerts and collaborations and things. And we'll talk about that. I'm sure the stories will be wonderful from Justin. So that is debuting a week from tonight on Living on Music. You can go to the Zebra page. That'd be great. Join Zebra Press, which originated the ZTV and how Living on Music got started. So go to the Zebra page, click sign in, sign up, click like, and you will get wonderful periodic little pings and things like that about events, about news, about goings on all over the Northern Virginia region, Alexandria, et cetera. And it really is worth it. You'll be glad you did. Also go to the ZTV page and click like, and you'll get a few pings on Living on Music, other shows that are on, wonderful programming that we have on ZTV, and it's growing by the month. So please become a part of ZTV. Also, the core of Zebra Press is the Zebra newspaper. And wow, what an edition this one is. You can tell even by that cover. You know where that is, the Pentagon on 9/11 or right around that day. And it was, we just had the 20th anniversary a week or so ago, and an incredible edition of the Zebra newspaper. If you'd like to get the Zebra newspaper, you can go around town and find it in boxes all over Old Town and around Alexandria, et cetera. Or you can read it on here. The zebra.org has a electronic copy of it. But if you'd like a hard copy in your hand delivered to your house, go down to the bottom here of the page. You see it right there. Subscribe. Click on there, and for a very nominal fee, you can get a subscription to the Zebra, a monthly newspaper, and you will not regret it. It is a wonderful extra kind of piece to have around for events, for news, for involvement, for anything else that you might want to get into in this region. Living on Music is a production of Zebra Press. My editor and dear friend and incredible musician is Todd Jones, and the Zebra publisher is Mary Wadland. Again, 1 week from tonight, the debut, Living on Music debut of Justin Trawick. So please join us. Until then, remember, stay masked, get vaccinated. I don't have an issue with saying that one bit. You got to do what you got to do. No one wants to stay in. No one wants to be masked all the time. We got to get through this. And there's proof that there's a reason why we're supposed to be diligent. So stay that way. And also something that you can do every day of your life, and it takes no effort at all, is be the good news in someone's life. Ciao, everybody.